Thanks for staying with us. Now, why is emotional intelligence important? Having a high level of emotional intelligence allows you to empathize with others, communicate effectively, and be both self and socially aware. How we respond to ourselves and others impact our home and work environments. Many people believe that self-awareness is the most important part of emotional intelligence. Self-regulation, which is the ability to control emotions and impulses, is very important also, as people who self-regulate typically don't allow themselves to become too angry or jealous, and they don't make impulsive, careless decisions. So how true is this, and why is emotional intelligence relevant in our lives and for our growth today? That's our question. Now let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. I'll bring in Lanre Olusola in a minute. But I wanted to hear your thoughts, LC. Why do you think emotional intelligence is good for us in terms of growth?
To ask this.
Why didn't I ask Issy?
Okay. So
you know why I'm asking you? Let me tell you why I'm asking you.
Why?
Okay, so I don't know whether it is you putting up a front. But wait now, I've studied you for a bit. And I noticed that even when things happen to you, you don't let it get to you. You're able to regulate and control a state of happiness. So that's why I'm asking you first.
Because this life is one, my dear. I cannot come and kill myself. But I think it's a deliberate attempt, especially when you understand that. Okay, for me, for the longest of time, I can't remember when, maybe over 10 years, my very dear to heart quote is, everything happens for a purpose, yeah. So I don't just react. Even when things are going on very smooth, I'm still wondering, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? What's going to happen? And then when it goes sideways, I think there is something else going to happen that will be bigger than where I was, right? And that's how it has always been. When I get into a certain situation, it could be tough, right? It could be very difficult at some points, but I've learned to know that I can and I should endure that process at that time. But I also think that being able to listen to and look at the lives of people that's you sort of emulate, not necessarily mentor, because I think that word mentor has really been over, you know, people that you just look up to and you like a certain area of their life, just pick those areas, pick from here and piece it together. And I remember before I invited this guest we're going to have now, I was on one of his platforms where we were having a conversation, and it was on this emotional intelligence. And one of his speakers, who we all know, defined wisdom, and he was trying to relate wisdom to emotional intelligence. And then he said, wisdom is about achieving purpose in an efficient way. So it's not about how you feel, it's about you being able to step out of yourself and think about the goal and the best strategy for you to get to that point. So for me, I think that's what it is. As long as I'm happy and I am eating my food, I'll be fine.
You'll be all right.
I like food.
How about you, Issy?
Oh.
Emotional intelligence, you know,
me,
how do you apply it in your own personal life?
In my own personal life, what I cannot change, I just leave it like that, basically. So I have learned not to be reactive, but to, you know, observe before I deal with whatever I'm dealing with, basically. So it is not about me being aloof about it, but I'm learning to have self-control over it.
All right, so he's the founder, Chief Catalyst at the Lanre Olusola Academy, a mind, emotions, and behavioral change coaching academy working with individuals and organizations to transform lives by transforming minds. Lanre Olusola is renowned for his extensive array of works of coaching, publishing, and keynote speaking with individuals and organizations locally and internationally. He's renowned for pioneering the life coaching industry in Nigeria and creating the first wholly integrated coaching academy in West Africa. With over 2 decades of coaching experience, the Catalyst is a certified General Electric executive coaching master trainer and a GE regional Controval executive coaching faculty member. I am a name murderer, so I've accepted and owned it. And he's joined us live in studio. Thank you so much. Please, how do I pronounce that word?
Contreville. Did you not even hear it?
I didn't hear it at all. But thank you so much. But it's the ability to laugh through your pain. That is emotional intelligence. I laugh through your flaws. You know, so Going on the streets in Nigeria is hell. You just see a lot of emotions all over the place, right? I've said that I don't know how God has done it for me, but I think over the years I have learned, I don't know how I learned it, but I know I've learned to be able to respond to situations. But I find that it is very difficult. A lot of people are actually very reactive. And this is causing us so much in terms of how far we can go, even as a nation, as individuals, you know. So generally, right, just looking at us as Nigerians, how emotionally intelligent are we?
Well, I mean, if we looked at our environment and the fact that we live in a jungle, right, we should be experiencing more chaos. You know, if we were not displaying some elements of emotional regulation and restraint. And so, you know, I would say that, you know, when it comes to some aspects of emotional intelligence, we score high. In some other areas, we score average. In some other areas, we score very low. Now, the stress that is the result of living in a jungle or an environment like this, right, is enough to create war and catastrophe.
In some other places.
In some other places. But we're not there. And so we need to ask ourselves, what is it that is restraining us? It is as a result of, you know, emotional regulation. And where is this coming from? This is coming from our core beliefs. We're a very religious people. So one of the great things that the churches and the mosques and our religion has done,
like a regulator,
is regulate us, and we must celebrate the religious institutions for giving us that sanity, because people will think first. And emotional intelligence is really about, you know, how you see things, how you feel, and how you see, feel, and think inspires or influences the decisions you make.
True.
And the behaviors that come as a result of the decisions you make. And so if we are living amicably, at least in some quarters, most of the quarters, right, it means that there's something that is causing us to think twice, even though we do not feel right. There's something that is at the heart of our belief system, you know, that is not prompting us to act like wild animals. So to that extent, there's quite a bit of restraint amongst us. However, is that enough? No. Because, you know, there are three dimensions of existence. It's either you are living for survival, which many of us are doing. And so we're living sub-optimal lives. Or we're living, you know, to thrive. Or we're living to succeed. There's a very few number of people that live for significance. So many of us are living just to survive. Why? Because that's the rule in the jungle. Survival. And so you would find out that, you know, your plumber, your gateman, your cook is trying to shaft you.
All the time.
You will see a lot of that. Why? It's mindset. It's the mindset of survival. And so we need to begin to educate ourselves, where people need to be more self-aware. Who are you? What are you? Why are you here? And I liked, you know, Elsie's perspective, because, you know, she's trained herself, and that's the next level, right? You cannot not react, you will react. You cannot not respond, you would respond, because that is how you're wired. But what Elsie's done is Elsie's been trained to think about the situation and the context that she finds herself in. And the intelligent thing about, you know, regulating her emotions is she has pre-programmed decisions that she will make, how she will see things. And by virtue of that, right, which is coming from her belief system, she makes the right decisions in that moment.
Yeah.
But for other people, right, what usually happens is when situations arise and provokes stress within them, their frontal cortex is shut down, their thinking faculty is shut down, and they switch to their amygdala, which is their rear cortex. And that puts you into fight, flight, and reaction mode. But because she has preloaded programs, and we're like computers.
Yes, actually.
Right? We're hardware, software, and programs. Because she has preloaded programs in her software that tells her that every situation has a purpose. And in every situation, right, you have the opportunity to learn and to grow
From it.
So what does she do? She steps back and switches to her frontal cortex and thinks about it. So what is the wisdom in this situation? What can I learn in this situation?
Even when things are going well. So it's not all the time that things need to
Going
go bad.
negatively, yes. But you know, the truth about being emotionally intelligent is that emotional intelligent people know that it is through trials, tribulations, adversities,
And growth
and
happens.
challenges that you learn the most, that you grow the fastest,
Sure.
that you are presented with the greatest opportunities.
Absolutely.
However, if you allow yourself free rein for your amygdala to hijack you, you will never see opportunities and you will never take those opportunities. And that is what being emotionally intelligent is.
I like the words you're using: emotional regulation, emotional restraint, living for survival. I mean, a lot of people understand the concept or they understand the definition of emotional intelligence, but for a person who wants to give it a try, what would be that basic step they need to take?
So, if you want to know the 2 times table, or the 3 times table, or, you know, like EC teaches, if you want to know how to pronounce words, right? Alphabets, and how to put alphabets together to form words, and how to put words together to form sentences, right? And how to effectively communicate, what do? You go to school to learn. Now, unfortunately, you know, we think that it's only technical knowledge that we need. We do not realize that we are a spirit being with a soul living in an earth suit that exists in an environment, right? We do not recognize that we are software, hardware, and programs. So you are a product of your programming and your software. And so if your programming is outdated, if there's a virus in your software or your program,
I'm finished.
you're not functioning right.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of dysfunctional people walking around, right? Because even your phones, every 2 weeks or 3-4 weeks, right? It sends you a message that now it doesn't even tell you to update. It automatically updates. But it informs you that tonight I'm going to update it. Why do they do that? It is because they have identified kinks, viruses, and things that do not make the old, you know, operating system or version function optimally. Now, when you drive your car, what do? You take it to the workshop for service, right? And to fix it. So when last did you service your emotions? When last did you service your soul? Because you are spirit, soul, body. We go to church and the mosques and we read our Bibles to service our spirit. We eat, we exercise, we go to school, right, to service our cognitive minds and our bodies. Where do we go to service the soul? Where is the school of the soul? What is the content of the curriculum? When last, right, were you aware of the dynamics of your soul? And the soul is the seat of your will, your intellect, and your emotions. Now, check this out. Within the environment that you find yourself in, right, you see things, you hear things, you feel things, you experience things. And your senses provoke, right, or release information into your internal dynamics, your mind, and you think. So your thoughts are the influences of your environment. True. Or your thoughts are influenced by your environment. Or your environment sow information into your mind to think thoughts, right? So environment influences thoughts. Thoughts influences beliefs. Beliefs influence emotions. Emotions influence decisions. Decisions influence actions. Actions produce your results. Now, at the heart of this model that I've just described, from environment sociology, right, to environment sociology, because your behaviors are, manifest in an environment, right? Between sociology to sociology, between environment to environment, right, you go through psychology and biology. So your psychology, right, your neurology, your biology is influenced by your sociology. So if you do not understand the system of your psychology or neurology or biology, you're not going to be functioning optimally, because most of the things that you do is a function of your psychology, neurology, and biology. And also, biology influences the chemicals that rage inside you. We call them hormones, or biochemicals, or neurotransmitters, like adrenaline.
Energy too?
Yeah, like adrenaline, cortisol, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. So when you think, when a situation arises in your environment, it provokes a thought, right? And when you think negative, limiting, disempowering thoughts, it creates negative, limiting, disempowering beliefs. Now, a combination of those thoughts and those beliefs release biochemicals into your system, right? You can call it energy, you can call it neurotransmitters, right? So if it's something that provokes fear or anxiety, what begins to happen is you release adrenaline and cortisol and 30 other neurotransmitters. Now, the more cortisol you have in your body, right, the more toxicity you have in your system that depletes and reduces your immune system. We're beginning to talk about health.
Yes.
It depletes your bone mass because it reduces the amount of magnesium, potassium in your body. It begins to destroy your brain cells. It impairs your memory and your ability to learn and remember things. It destroys your brain cells.
Wow.
Now, your environment sociology is beginning to affect psychology that begins to affect biology. Emotions can be deadly.
Jesus.
And so the consequences are serious. And that's why being emotionally intelligent is very important. There are loads of people. Now, let's bring it back home. COVID, right? The COVID pandemic, different researchers have gone out, and I'll quote the one from McKinsey & Co. They did a research and realized that between 27% to 34% of people, right, were both depressed and anxious as a result of COVID. Another 40% of people were anxious but not depressed, right? Another 20-something% were depressed but not anxious. Now, COVID is creating emotions: depression, anxiety, worry. Now, the result of that is that a lot of people in the last 2 years have been pumping unbelievable amount of adrenaline and cortisol into their bodies. right? And you know, the results have played it out. People start to put on weight. It is also a trigger for diabetes because you know your body does not utilize glucose the way it's supposed to utilize. You begin to accumulate fat. So you find out that no matter what you are doing, you've been putting on weight in the last 2 months around your midriff, your cortisol glands, and you're wondering what is going on. The more you allow this, the more you do not develop emotional intelligence, which speaks to emotional awareness, right? Emotional regulation, patience, emotional mastery, relationship mastery, because at the end of the day, right, it's people you take it out on.
Yeah.
Hi, you know what? Let's just run out and come back because there's so many things that are speaking to me. But I'm just quiet here. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we're having an amazing chat with Lanre Olusola, the catalyst himself, on emotional intelligence as a requirement for growth. You can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 08182384663. As you can see, I'm talking very calmly today.
I wanted to ask you what happened.
I don't know what happened, but you know, because we've run out of time.
In case
But
you
we
did not
think we
hear
have
the
time, but we
number is
don't
on
have
the
time.
screen. Because I don't
In case
understand.
you didn't hear, the number is on the screen. Everything that you explained, I think I've been through all those emotions between February 2020 up until now, mid-waist area gain. Then I started having a lot of, in fact, I'm running an online program. And it's like everything I'm reading is not entering my head.
Hey.
I'm trying to, in fact, I've told them that it's like I need to take I actually took a break in December, resumed again in March, but it is not entering my head. I'm just not interested in anything right now because it seems like everything is just too many things happening to me. So I'm asking now, emotional intelligence. So how do we, because I know that I'm not alone in this space. A lot of people are watching and they're probably going through the same emotion that I am going through. What will be a right place to start? I think it was Elsie that asked that question or something. What would be the right place to start? Because really we're running out of time. I know definitely there are programs that you offer, right? So how do we even start and where do we start from?
All right, so I'm going to give a few tips, right? Because, you know, we're biochemical beings, and if you've released cortisol and adrenaline, and if you have a high level of it in your body, you need to neutralize it. And what do you need to do? You need to boost your dose of dose. What does that mean? You need a certain dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins in your body. They are like solvents that neutralize the negative or deadly effect of, you know, the negative toxic biochemicals. And, you know, there are 50 things you can do, but because of time, I'm just going to share a few. Number one is you eat foods that are rich in tyrosine. Avocados, bananas, fish, almonds, right, on a weekly basis. Number one. Number two is you eat foods that are rich in protein. 3 is, you know, food supplements, because, you know, a lot of the foods that we eat are not organic. So we miss out a lot of nutrients. So you need, you know, supplements, vitamin A, B, C, D. Very, very important. E, right? But most important is D and B complex.
Okay.
Right? Now you can get D every morning because, you know, early morning walk, very, very important. The outdoors is very important because a lot of us are sitting indoors on Zoom most of the day, right? And working virtually. So that early morning sun is very, very important. But what that also does for you is exercise. Exercise is very, 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 very key.
I stopped exercising, that's why.
Oh no, you have to give expression to it. You have to release a lot of, you know, those biochemicals that you are producing. You have to sweat. You know, physical touch, especially with your loved ones at home. You must hug a lot.
I think she does that.
You must hug a lot, right? Also, you know, take yourself out sometime. Go out with loved ones sometimes, you know. We're still trying to observe, you know, the protocols, but, you know, go out to have a good meal sometimes. Take yourself out for a treat sometimes. Another thing is eat spicy foods. Yeah, spicy foods is very, very, very key. A glass of wine once in a while, red wine, is also very, very good for you. So if you do a few of those things, right, dance, laugh, comedy is very, very important. You know, so if you do a few of those, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask the question based on the concept of it is said that authentic leadership doesn't actually it actually begins with self-awareness. Okay, if authentic leadership actually begins with self-awareness, let's look at the concept of leadership and emotional intelligence. Where do you think our leaders are with emotional intelligence?
Which leaders?
I knew she was going to go there.
Which leaders?
Which leaders?
Our Nigerian leaders.
Our Nigerian leaders.
Do we really want to go?
Yeah, we have to go there.
An insight. What's your take on that?
I mean, I think we have a few that get it. Most don't get it, you know, because emotional intelligence is about selflessness. Emotional intelligence is about positively impacting other people's lives, right? Emotional intelligence is about knowing what you do or what you don't do and how it affects other people, right? I mean, I guess your guess is as good as mine, yeah? You know, most of our leaders, you know,
Not emotionally intelligent.
they do what they want to do
They lack
for
emotional
what they can
intelligence.
take out of it. You know, when you go into leadership, it's to serve. You know, and there's a concept of servant leadership, love leadership, impact leadership. That's the future of leadership. The future of leadership is not about you. It's not about the position. It's about the lives that you can impact. It's about lives you can transform. It's about the people you can elevate their status.
Absolutely.
You know, so if we looked at that, right, how many of our leaders really, even within the private sector, are doing that? You know, there's a lot of leadership by oppression. There's a lot of leadership by fear. But unknown to them, right, they are creating toxic atmospheres that reduce the productivity and the performance of their people. By virtue of that, reduce your profitability. So organizations across the world, right, are putting in place programs that empower leaders, that develop emotional intelligence in leaders, not because of just them, because at the end of the day, it profits the organization. And how does it profit the organization? Right, let's look at it. A home where there is toxicity, negativity, stress, there'll be too much problems in there. So there will be sub-production, underproduction, non-performance.
Total.
And at the end of the day, right,
Dysfunctionality.
let's look around us. A lot of organizations are complaining that there's a lot of brain drain now.
Yes.
From the top organizations to the small, across industries. They say now that Canada is the capital of Nigeria. Nigerians are the best of our people. And why are they leaving? Because they cannot hack it with the leaders that they have. 1, 2, they cannot hack it with the way the organizations are being run. The culture of the organization does not align with the values, and you know, and then the state of the nation.
Well, sorry, Lanre, let me quickly because you mentioned something very key, and I think this is the biggest problem that I am seeing happening a lot. Because the closest people to you are the people that hurt you the most. We have a lot of dysfunctional families where it's consistently a repeated, system happening, almost like programmed on autopilot to put stress in people within the family, either from parents to children or spouses or maybe siblings and all of that. So how do you manage to maintain emotional intelligence when you are constantly within that space where it's permanently toxic for you?
I mean, you have to determine what you want and what you don't want. I say to people, never complain about what you permit. So you have the right to determine the construct in your family. And every one of us has a responsibility to create our own family and put in place our own family constitution. So what is your family vision? And what is your family constitution? And what are the values and the beliefs and the culture within your family? So if you can decide that in my own family, I am ending this cycle or this culture of madness. And then from your own, you start to build it right. And so we should stop complaining about what we permit.
Yeah.
Who says you cannot cut members of your family off if they're,
Who said?
Yeah, so wake up to the reality and say to yourself.
You can do it.
No, at some point, right? Yeah. Look, we call it the principle of leverage, pain and pleasure.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
When you want children to behave, you encourage them with
pleasure.
When they keep doing bad things, what do? You punish them. And there are children in each and every one of us adults.
Yes.
Look, if you put your foot down, these badly behaved people, they will conform. Where they will conform. Do you know we're the ones aiding them?
True.
We're the ones. We also have a pseudo-God complex. You want them to always come to you to get from you. We have to change for things to change.
True.
And you have to determine what kind of family you want to, live in.
I'm not sure there's enough time for my question for him to respond, but I'll still ask anyway. I was listening to or watching one of your interviews from months back, and you were talking about the rate of divorce and how it goes higher from second to third marriages, yeah? And I just wanted to ask, what is the role of emotional intelligence in this increase of divorce?
Gosh, man.
It's everything.
It's everything. Because you see, how you think, how you feel, how you see things, right? The things you believe, and the decisions that you make are very, very key in your interpersonal, intimate relationship as well. And you permit a lot of things with people on the outside. You're more short-fused with the people that are close to you. And the reason why is because they are like your mirrors. They reflect you back to you. So you're actually reacting to yourself. And so if you want to build a happy, intimate relationship and marriage, emotional intelligence is very, very key.
Okay, so I had one final question for you, so because we've run out of time. If you had one thing you truly wished for to see as regards emotional intelligence and growth for the nation, what would that be? What would that be, that one wish that if it happened, it would make you the happiest man on earth?
We have to change our beliefs as a people, as a nation, Why is America, seemingly, one of the great the American dream? They believe in America. If you ask any Nigeria about
What's
Nigeria,
the Nigerian dream?
No, not the dream. Just ask them about Nigeria. Negativity. Look, our bellies are filled with the fruit of our lips. There's the power of life and death in our tongue. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So we're speaking our beliefs about Nigeria. Nigeria is not good. Nigeria is this. Nigeria, for as long as we continue to utter those things, we are going to continue to experience what we prophesy.
So it means that Lanre Olusola, you're not going to Japa?
I'm not going anywhere. I have an assignment
Absolutely.
Here. Yeah.
Do you think the people that are leaving are cowards, or you think?
No, I don't think so. You know, people have to do what they have to do. Some people have to leave. Some people have to stay. And we're not all wired the same way, and we all have different assignments. So it's not being cowardly, you know. We don't know what God has said to anybody.
Absolutely.
You know, each and every one of us have to go back to our Maker and ask what our purpose is.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank
the
you.
Catalyst.
Thank you.
I hope you come back again. I hope you had fun with us.
Yes,
thank you,
yes.
Isi. Thank you, Elsie.
I'm the Elsie.
Had an amazing conversation. All right, before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can drop your comment and interact with us further. We're planning a huge giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the Waze brand and following the conversation. So we'll be 2 in December, so we're planning a giveaway. So follow us now at PlusTvAfrica. Like, share, and invite all your friends and family as well to watch us. So if you missed today's Core Charities again, we cannot tell what may happen to us in the strange medley of life, but we can decide what happens in us, how we can take it and what we do with it, and that is what really counts in the end. I think this is a fantastic quote. We'll see you again tomorrow as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Bye.